What's going on, everybody? It's Kreml here again. I've had a couple people ask me to do a little short video on how to begin playing Cities XL. I guess some people find that it can be kind of a daunting game because there's lots of options and many things to do, and you kind of have to sort of understand the basics of the game to even begin playing your first time. So what we're going to do here is kind of take a look at the menus and briefly explain what you need to do to get the cities going. So on the right, you'll notice that the menu's pretty straightforward. You can choose what type of resources your maps have most often, and depending on the tabs you choose, it'll show you the resources. Notice how now that I have no map difficulty selected, it'll show all the maps with that resource that I'm clicking. Or I can choose like a region type. And we'll just do easy. I don't really focus on the region or resources. I just kind of choose, because generally I will have too much of one resource, export that, and then import the one I need. So it's not really a big deal, but if you would like a little bit more of a challenge, you could make a desert map or island or whatever you want. So it's totally up to you. I'm going to choose the beach because I haven't played this one before, and we'll call it Shoreside Vale, like the map in GTA. Now the first thing you're going to want to do when you get into the game is come down to the bottom left corner and click Transportation. You're going to want to take a road, most likely the 60 car a minute road, because this is where everybody is going to come into your city. Now that you've selected the road, the purple on the wall of the map is going to show up, and this is how people get into your city. So once you select it, you can start to pull the road into your city, and then it'll get built. And notice how the purple region fades away for a distance around this road, and that's because this is other ways that you can connect into your city. And you might want to start in a corner, maybe take your first entrance and put it way up here, and then your second one and put it further down here to be able to meet in the middle for manufacturing and stuff like that. Because there's a number of things you have to consider. So we'll go over those real quick. Freight is the industries and services that your city is creating, and once you start to get some businesses and stuff going in here, you'll see these sliders start to move a little bit, and you just have to kind of focus on that. Either you balance them or you make some of them super high and export them. Or if you have too little of something, you can import it at risk of demolishing your cash flow. So if you want to trade, you can come up to the main menu in the top left and hit the trade button. And right now my city has no resources, so nothing pops up in this menu. But let's say I wanted to trade with another city. We'll trade with Kreml. And you'll see we have a negative cash flow at the moment, meaning our expenses are outdoing our intake. But if I had extra resources, I could give them to Kreml, or I could take them. So it's just like trading like you would do in real life. Or you can trade with Omnicorp, which is like the computer-generated city that has an infinite supply of resources. So if you get yourself in a sticky situation, you can trade with them. Now, trading is a bit more complex, so we'll save that for later. But once you get your main road in here, what you're going to want to consider is that your city is going to expand just like one in real life. So urban sprawl is going to take hold. You're going to want to plan to make sure that the roads and buildings you're creating aren't going to get in the way of expansion. So I'm planning for the fact that this thoroughfare here is going to become so busy that I'm going to need to expand it in the near future. And the way I'm going to combat that is I'm going to take the city hall and put it on this side of the road up here. That way, if I need to, I can just destroy that road, and then, if I wanted to, make a second thoroughfare. Then you can click it, and you can even change to make all 4 lanes go in one direction or the opposite, and then if you select it, you can make it go back to a regular small avenue. So there's a number of things that you need to plan for, and it kind of sounds ridiculous that you need to plan in a video game to be able to, play the game, but it kind of is true, because you can get yourself into a point where traffic and congestion is becoming so bad that your infrastructure can't move around. After you get the city hall, though, you're going to want to put in some city resources, or some utilities, which is just a technical service station, and all that does is provide like simple electricity and water and things like that. Next off, you're going to want to build residences for your people to come in. So we'll take a road and come down here, planning for the sprawl that's going to happen. And when you click the housing tab, you'll notice a couple options down here. The square zone makes completely linear, completely inline sections of houses. Whereas the free zone, you can literally make it do whatever direction you want. So you can make it look ridiculous like that, or you could do your best to make it linear with another set. So it's totally up to you. The free zone is useful in spots like, let's say I wanted to put a house section around this stuff. So I could do this, and it fills in the gaps. And I didn't make it big enough to show the example. But, let's see. It's not doing what I want it to do. Well, I hope you kind of get my point there. It's useful if I put down, let's say, one retail shop. Then I can take my housing free zone tool and build around it, and it'll put the houses around my retail shop. That way, I don't have to take my square zone, be like, oh wait, there's stuff already there, let me delete it first. So it's useful in quick situations, or if you don't really care about the aesthetics of your city. Next up, you're kind of at the point now where it's just a grind. You need to plan your city so that you can start to build resources and bring in population, and you do that just by building housing for your people and building a place for them to work. And that's pretty much the extent of what you're going to be doing for the first while. It sounds kind of boring, and it does kind of get boring, but you'll see that once you start to pick up and your city takes off, you're definitely going to enjoy like being the mayor of a city. So now that we have sort of the basic understanding of what we're going to do, we'll go through some of the menus here real quick. Now, this is just your general budget menu, and you'll notice that this is a taxes slider. So let's say your cash flow is running low. Mine's actually negative right now, probably because of the amount of stuff I put for really no reason when I have not that many people in here. So if I wanted to charge people as much tax as I wanted, my profit will probably go up here. Let's see. Didn't go up too much because I don't really have that many residents, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. But you'll notice my people are no longer satisfied with the amount of taxes. So I could throw it all the way back down, gain less money, but then I would make people 100% happy. So usually I leave it at between 15 and 20% depending on what my expenses look like. And one thing I've noticed is that people don't really do anything. Like, if they're unhappy with your services, they don't leave. They may move around in your city, but that's not something that really matters. Although, it's not really fun when you don't pay attention to the needs of your people. So that's pretty much covers the basics of the game. One more thing I'll go over real quick is the different types of heavy industry and offices. When you put your mouse over the zones, you'll notice that it says number of required workers. That's something you want to pay attention to because, let's say, for example, I have enough jobs for my skilled workers right now, but not my unskilled workers. So I wouldn't necessarily want to put in offices because my skilled workers are taken care of. So I would want to put in some heavy industry, and the unskilled worker jobs would show up again. They would have somewhere to go. Now, on that same token, however, you kind of want to consider the fact that heavy industry, and when you unlock manufacturing at 5,000 residents, it's going to start to pollute the air. So what some people do is they take a long road and they move it way far away from their population. That way, when the pollution starts to spread all around your region, that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect anyone in your city. So, just like I said, think about the planning. Where do you want to put your manufacturing? Where do you want to put your houses? And how do you want to plan the roads? And, most importantly, you have to consider the fact that you're going to need to expand the sizes of your roads, so you might want to leave gaps between the houses. I probably shouldn't have put all these units so close together, but that's just something you kind of have to play with, and you may have to evict people to make the city a better place. So it's up to you, but that pretty much covers the basics. If you guys would like to see more, definitely let me know. Alright, we'll see you next time.